Hello YouTubers, I just wanted to give an update on my tank, some changes, what's going well, what's not going well, so on and so forth. So let's jump right in. I hope I'll be able to show you guys the tank from all angles. So this is the primary angle. This is when you're in the living room, in the kitchen, what you see. And if you notice a few things, so here's some changes that I've done. First of all, the most obvious is that beautiful torch coral right front and center. I am thrilled with it. It was a little expensive because of the size. It has something like 6 or 7 heads. But I had done so much, I put so much epoxy and super glue because I couldn't decide where to move my corals. So the front of that rock directly behind that huge torch coral in the middle, it just looks crappy. It has the purple kind of coralline color, it has white color on it. It looked horrible, and I really needed something to hide it, to make it look nice. So I figured this torch coral was something that's relatively inexpensive for the size. I mean, if you were to get something that size in another coral, it could be ridiculously expensive. And I think it looks great. Yesterday I had a lot of swearing, a lot of frustration because I was trying to get that torch coral attached to the side of the rock, and I just couldn't get the epoxy to stick. The super glue wasn't working. So eventually, after the epoxy dried and it fell off of the rock several times, I super glued the heck out of it, and then I have this like instant super glue that I use sometimes as well, and I put some of that instant super glue on, and finally it stuck. And then I placed 2 rocks near the bottom, as you can see, to kind of hide the base. And I think it looks pretty good, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. Looking on the left side, I've moved my frog spawn coral up. It used to be kind of front and center, and I'm actually really happy with that placement. For a lot of reasons. One, now when you're sitting in the chair over here to the left that you can't see, you have a good side view now. And I have the small torch coral right below it, which is kind of hiding the base, and I think it looks really good. I also, I was watching CJ's, one of his latest videos on how his rock work isn't epoxied, and some of my rock work is epoxied and some of it isn't, and the biggest part that isn't is that big rock tower on the left. I literally just had it balancing on 2 rocks, and I did that because I wanted the rock to be taller. I wanted it to point to the surface, because right now there's you know, a good third of the top of the tank I'm not utilizing, and that was frustrating to me. I wanted to utilize the entire height of the tank, and I'm just not. And so I finally gave up, and what I did is I removed those 2 rocks from underneath, and that big tower rock on the left wouldn't stand upright on its own. So what I did is I found another piece of rock to attach to the base, and I epoxied it in there, so now it's stable. So now I really don't have any concerns about anything falling, because that rock can stand upright just fine, and everything else is epoxied in place. So I feel comfortable moving forward, you know, placing different corals anywhere, really. If you can see down on the bottom left, have a new addition. I don't know if you can see him. I don't want to point him out, but he's right by, oh, there he is, swimming around. He's coming around to the front. A lawnmower blenny, also known as an algae blenny. I picked him up because I was getting all this turf algae. Now, he won't really eat the turf algae. He eats more the micro algae that grows on the rocks, and there's certainly plenty of that, and he seems to be doing quite well. And the coolest thing, if you've watched my last video, is my blood fire, whatever you call it, cleaner shrimp, you can see here kind of in the bottom left, finally has a purpose. The blenny loves to be cleaned, and several times a day he'll go down by the fire shrimp, and the fire shrimp will just go crazy and will clean him, and it's a really fun symbiotic relationship to watch. None of the other fish, the sapphire damsels or the clownfish, they've been interested. They've gotten close, and the fire shrimp got excited, and he came out, and he, you know, would grab onto him, and then the fish would freak out and kind of roam away. Also, the big rock on the left and the smaller rock with the green star polyps, I had those out of my tank, and I figured that while I had them out of my tank, while I was epoxying them, I would do a hydrogen peroxide bath to kill off all of the turf algae. So I took out a lot of tank water, basically, because I was basically doing a water change. So I took out the tank water, and the dirty water I used for the water change. I put in like half my container of food grade 3% hydrogen peroxide, and I let it sit in there for like 10 minutes. And I'm really glad I did. Now, the downside of doing that, yeah, it killed off all the microalgae as well, but it did kill off all the macroalgae. Within a day, I could see all the turf algae starting to turn white, and it's been slowly falling off, and it's a lot cleaner looking, and I'm really happy about that. I've been debating whether or not to purchase like some hermit crabs or an emerald crab to start eating kind of that turf algae, the hair algae that I have growing, stuff like that, the tube algae that I have growing. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet because, one, emerald crabs, as you all know, are reef safe, sort of. Sometimes they will eat your corals, and that's obviously not okay with me. My corals will take priority any day over a shrimp. And so I don't want to necessarily introduce that. And then regarding like hermit crabs, yeah, I'm okay with hermit crabs, but I don't want them to start killing all my snails off. Now, I'm hoping that if I get the hermit crabs, if I feed them plenty of food, and if I offer empty shells, like a lot of empty shells scattered around, that as they're growing, they will choose those and not other things. So we'll see. I'll probably end up getting that anyways, because it's really a pain to kind of put your hand in the tank, to get your tweezers out, to pull the tufts of algae from the rock, and they take forever to clean up. Just kind of frustrating overall. So I will probably get it. Let's see, you can probably see the Blenny was just chewing on the sea fan experiment, definitely failing. Had it for about a month now. It's slowly dying off, and I think it's pretty much near the end because over half of it hasn't even opened up for a week. So half of it is like gone into hibernation mode or something, where it's not getting any food. So I expect to see the red sloughing off the kind of brown core pretty soon, and I'll remove that. And I'll probably take one of CJ's ideas, get some sort of leather coral to kind of put back there. Not as colorful, but at least it'll kind of hide the background and give some depth to everything. Let's see here. I will go ahead and move you to the side so you can see different angles. So I'm actually pretty excited because now you can actually see stuff from this side. I don't know if you probably noticed. I moved my hammer coral over here, which is probably my favorite coral. It's doing awesome. It's actually a little bit closer to where the clowns hang out, so maybe they'll host it, but they've shown no interest in that at all. But from this side view, you can kind of see, my sand bed is pretty much all gone. I've been slowly removing it. And with that, the dino flagellates are pretty much gone too. Have had zero problems with the dinos. Yeah, I mean, there's still a tiny bit, but no real issues. And eventually I'm going to get some sugar fine sand, a very small layer, like maybe like a quarter of an inch or half an inch, just to kind of cover up, a lot of the dead spots, the glass spots that you see. One thing I did want to show you, see if I can zoom in here and show you. I doubt you'll be able to see it, but I have this weird, I'm going to zoom in here. This weird, oh, sorry about that, growth thingy on the side of my hammer coral. If you can kind of see, it's opening up a little bit right now, and it sort of looks like a clam. Yeah, I have no idea what it is, and it will open up and it will close throughout the day. So has anybody seen something like that before? Could it be like a hitchhiker clam on the side of this hammer coral? I would be extremely curious to kind of get your take on it. If anybody's seen that before, that would be pretty awesome. But the hammer coral, let's just take a peek at it. It's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with it, obviously. It's beautiful. The colors are just gorgeous. I'll move over here, check out the anemone. Growing by leaps and bounds, which is awesome. Really happy about it. Stayed there for 6, 7, 8 months now, however long I've had it. And no problems. And then here is my new torch coral. Looks absolutely stunning with all of the wave making. My green star polyps are encrusting on this rock very nicely. They've tripled in size in a couple months. I know they're a nuisance, but I'm going to keep them contained right onto here. I also have the small torch coral right behind it. That's growing, kind of hiding the base. Frog spawn, looking very frog spawny, and I love it. And if you want to check out my red sea fan, you can see, look, it's not even open, and I can't even get them to open anymore like I used to, which is kind of sad. And a little cleaning actioning happening. Oh, I think I scared him away, but as you saw, the cleaner shrimp was just working on the blenny. Let's see if he's gonna move back down. He might actually. Blenny just loves getting cleaned. The cleaner shrimp can't stay away from him. He gets really excited. He's like, please let me clean you. You can see, look at that. Blenny will tolerate it for a while, even his eyeballs. He gets a little sick of it now and then, but yeah, there you go. Getting work. It's a really fun relationship to watch, and I do wish some of my other fish would do it as well. And just the last view of my tank. This is from the little sitting chair on the side. It's our little reading nook. So I'm really excited now because I can just sit here, read my book, and glance over, and there's so much to look at now, and I love it. So anyway, that's the update, everybody. Hope you're all well.